Booyah! We are live and back in the building. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there. Hopefully your Monday went well and we fulfilled the goal of Money Making Monday for you guys. It's good to see everybody who's already lined up in the chat. Getting things going here for you on Tuesday. Smaller NBA slate versus yesterday's 10-game NBA slate. How did I do yesterday? Well, Bradley Beal's assist did well. Michael Conley Jr. over assist, that did well. LaMelo Ball over rebounds, that did well. So we had some picks that hit. What were some of your duds of the night, though? I'd like to hear what worked out for you, what didn't work out for you. Drop those in the chat. I like reading what you guys are playing each night, seeing what kind of successes you're having, what kind of lessons were learned if you did fall short on any of your entries. It's very interesting to see what the community is talking about. So good morning to Zebo, Red Sox, Jared, Honey Badger, Ronald's back up in the building, Nick, ZD the Killer. Hopefully you killed those entries last night, ZD. EDOT, good morning to you. Nick is in the building. King, good to see you back in this thing, brother. Anthony Taylor with the rocket ships. Yes, let's go to the moon tonight. What do you guys say? Luke, good morning to you. Dave, good morning. Official M23 Dog. Yo, first stream. Well, welcome, first timers. If you are a first timer, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. Our big goal, it's a pretty lofty big goal, but we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by January 1st. 3,000 subscribers by January 1st. I believe it's possible. It's going to take a lot of work. I can't do it by myself, but if you guys know anybody who's into daily fantasy sports, sports betting, prop picks, that sort of thing, please share this stream with a friend, a family member, a loved one. Get the word out there. We're going to try and shoot for this goal of 3,000 subscribers by January 1st. That would be my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. I believe with the power of the people, you who are watching this stream right now, that we can absolutely achieve this goal. So please make sure you're subscribed. Notifications are turned on so you don't miss out on any of these live streams. I typically go live 11 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday. Sometimes I put in the overtime and we go and do a live stream on the weekend. Once in a while, I'll do that. But that kind of sets the precedent, you know, what you can expect from me, from this channel. So hopefully you're into that sort of thing. And you guys continue to support. You've been fantastic. Yesterday, we went well over our goal of 100 likes. That's the daily goal from here on out. 99.5 is always going to be the line for the likes, at least for the time being. Maybe one day if we get to 10,000 subscribers, we'll move that line up to like 999.5 likes. And we'll go for 1,000 likes if I get to 10,000 subscribers one day. But appreciate you guys so much. You guys have been doing fantastic in terms of supporting me, supporting the channel, supporting the growth. So thank you so much. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I can't do any of this without you guys. So I appreciate you tuning in every morning, making me a part of your morning, and tapping into the live stream. And hopefully I'm returning some value to you guys and we're winning some money on these entries, whether you play on PrizePicks or you don't. But PrizePicks is our site of choice here to play player props. They offer more sports than any other site out there. You could parlay these different sports any way you want. If you like NBA, NFL, CSGO, if you play college basketball, NHL. I mean, they've got it all over on PrizePicks. So check out prizepicks.com. There's a link down in the description. You could use promo code Curry if you want to get a deposit bonus. They're going to do a dollar for dollar price match on every dollar you put in, all the way up to $100. So if you want to put in 100, they're going to give you 100 as well, giving you $200 to get you through the rest of the NBA season. So your first entry is going to be completely risk-free. It's on the house on PrizePicks. So good morning to everybody who continues to file into the chat. Good to see Dre Day up in here. David's in the building. Christopher Pringle. I love that last name. Pringles are delicious. I'm going to say it every time. Remy's up in here. Good to see you, Remy. Good morning to Jeffrey, longtime supporter. It's good to see you back up in the building, Mr. Jeffrey. G-Lo's back with the bars. G-Lo's got the bars, y'all. Check out G-Lo over on Twitter. He's a freestyle battle rapper. Don't go against G-Lo. He will do his thing on the bars. Jay, good morning to you. Trace, good morning to you. Who else do we got in here this morning? Daquan, what's up to you, Daquan? J-Red up in the building. What's up, J-Red? Josh is here. Boston, Another Josh Martin's up in here. He says, help me win and I'll make 100 accounts and like the streams. Josh, that's what we do every morning. We try to help people win. Between me and the research and the chat's always dropping some fire picks, some gems up in the chat. So yeah, that's our goal every morning, to try and land on some winning picks. So stick around, stay tuned. Maybe it doesn't happen today, but maybe it'll happen tomorrow. I mean, we're always here, every day, Monday through Friday. What's up to Wally? What's happening to you, Wally? Miguel, good to see you back again. A-Dub, the prop killer. What's up, A-Dub? Blame the Flame. He's a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of yours, Blame the Flame. Good to see everybody in here. Alexis, good to see you as well. Back again. Mr. Antho, 1690. All right, enough with the shout-outs. We'll get back to you guys in just a minute. Let's go ahead and talk about today's NBA slate. We got the Miami Heat at the Detroit Pistons, tipping off at 7 p.m., For the Miami side, we've got Okpala, Robinson as game time decisions. Oladipo and Morris have already been ruled out. For the Detroit side, Kelly Olynyk continues to sit. Of course, Beef Stew, Mr. Stewart, is going to be out. He has been suspended for his little scuffle, his dust-up with King James. I don't know if you guys saw the clip, but in slow motion, it looked like LeBron James punched dude right in the face and split him open. He was bleeding everywhere, and you could kind of tell why Stewart wanted to get his hands on LeBron James. He got sucker punched, basically, trying to box out on a rebound. So not a good look there for LeBron James. LeBron has also been suspended, which brings us to the next game, the Los Angeles Lakers at the New York Knicks. Unfortunately, no LBJ in MSG tonight. We will not see LeBron James in Madison Square Garden. He is out, as is Kendrick Nunn, Trevor Ariza for the Lakers. And then on the Knicks side, we've got game time decisions for both Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson. And Mitchell Robinson has already been ruled out for the New York Knicks. At 10 p.m., the Denver Nuggets take on the Portland Trailblazers in Portland. We've got Jamal Murray on the game time decision list. Nikola Jokic on the game time decision list. Listen, that's going to be the most impactful injury news from either side of this game. And then Michael Porter Jr. obviously is already ruled out for the Denver Nuggets. Moving it down to the last game, the 10:30 p.m., the late night hammer, the Dallas Mavericks at the Los Angeles Clippers. We got to keep an eye on Luka Doncic, y'all. He's currently a game time decision. If Luka sits, well, then that's a big boost to Kristaps Porzingis, who's been balling lately. Tim Hardaway Jr. would get a bump up. My man Jalen Brunson, is that his name? Brunson would get a bump up. I think his name's Jalen Brunson. I lose my mind sometimes on these streams. But Brunson would get a bump up. So those are your big ones for the Dallas Mavericks Clippers game. Nicholas Batum, he's already out for the Clippers as well. So that kind of gives you an idea. Small slate. We got 4 games on tonight's NBA slate. So let's start digging into some of these props. As 53 of you have joined the stream this morning, make sure you guys leave a like on this video. Again, we're going for 100 or more likes. We've been hitting that with pretty good consistency. Let's keep that hit rate high like we like to talk about for these player props. We're trying to keep our like hit rate high as well. So let's dig in. We're going to use props.cash as we do every single morning here to do our player prop research. $19.99 a month. You could go check out props.cash yourself. There's a link down in the description below. And you get access to NBA, NFL, and NHL. 3 different sports going at the moment on props.cash. It'll save you a ton of time. Less tabs open, less windows open, less searching around for different sites. It's all kind of baked into one site here on props.cash. So let's get signed in. I like having 2 separate tabs open personally. I like having 1 tab open dedicated to the player prop trends of the day. And then I like doing my research on a separate tab. So 1 site, 2 tabs. You know the rules. So let's go ahead and get into it. Looking at the points props today, Jimmy Butler is at the top of the list here. 22.5 points is his line with a hit rate of over 64%. So yeah, Jimmy Butler's been a guy who's been scoring more often than not. Looking like he's minus 116 to go over 22.5 points. So let's head over to the points section here on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, again, you just pick the overs and unders on your favorite players and the favorite props. For NBA, they offer points, rebounds, assists, three-point makes, even free throws for certain players. And then they also offer fantasy points. They use the FanDuel Yahoo scoring system for their fantasy points. So definitely check out PrizePicks if you haven't yet. Again, link for that down in the description below. But Jimmy Butler at 22.5 points. If you look at his last 5 games, guys, 31 against Denver, 31 against New Orleans, 32 against Washington, and another 29 against Washington. So 4 out of his last 5 games. That's an 80% hit rate. We got to talk about Jimmy buckets right here because he's been getting lots and lots of buckets, it looks like. So let's go ahead and dig into it a little further. The last 10 games at 22.5 points and 80% hit rate has only come up short on 2 occasions, once against Boston, once against the Lakers. Overall, though, over the course of the season, 25.1 points per game, puts him well over 22.5. Pretty good margin there. 25.9, so his scoring is actually up in his last 10 games, and it gets up a little further here in his last 5, averaging 26 points per game. And if you really look at the last 3, he's really been balling 31, 32, and 29. So he's been crushing 22.5 points. Maybe he has another opportunity to do that tonight against the Detroit Pistons. Let's look and see if there's any previous games from this season. It does not look like there's any previous games for Jimmy Butler against the Detroit Pistons from this season. So let's go ahead and go down a little further here. Look at this matchup. We already mentioned that Detroit will be without Isaiah Stewart. So looking at these rankings, they could be a little flawed here without Beef Stew in the lineup. We've got 19th ranked in terms of points allowed, 30th ranked in field goal percentage allowed. We've got 21st ranked in three-pointers allowed, 30th ranked in three-point field goal percentage allowed, 14th in free throws, and 21st in shooting guard defense. Now, I'm going to mention this because last night it burned me really bad, and we have to continue to keep these things in mind. This game currently has a 10-point spread, meaning that there is a high potential here for blowouts. And if you played NBA player props last night, you were probably a victim of some of these blowout games. There was a lot of marquee matchups that ended up blowing out. So if you took overs on any of your player props, it made it much harder for these players to hit the over. When a game blows out and it's already a 20, 30, or 40-point type of game by halftime, it's going to be very difficult for those superstars to get their full run of minutes and hit the overs on their player props. So I wanted to point that out about this game because we're talking about going over on Jimmy Butler at 22.5, but we also have to be respectful of the fact that there's a 10-point spread in this game, and that means high risk with taking overs. If we look at the last 5 games, he's averaging about 32 minutes per game. That's a little bit down versus the 10-game and full season averages. Going down here, looking at his field goal attempts, he's putting up over 15 shots per game. That number goes up when you look at his last 3 games, 18, 19, and 19. So he's up there floating around 20 shot attempts per game, 18 to 20 shot attempts. Doesn't take a whole lot of threes, usually just 2 to 3 per game. You kind of get an idea there. His free throws could be a good way to go, though. If they put his free throw props up on PrizePicks, you might want to take the over on his free throws because he does get to the line pretty regularly and makes a pretty high percentage from the foul line. So let's go ahead and pull up a projection for the points on Jimmy Butler. Numberfire.com, free projections for everything from fantasy points to your favorite single stat prop. Jimmy Butler sitting at 21.9, guys. We round it up, we call it 22. It's still a little short of 22.5. So again, with the blowout risk here, you might want to be careful despite the high hit rate for Jimmy Buckets. If this game gets out of hand, he may not get there for you if you take the over. You got to hope that he's a big factor, a big reason why this game blows out. And he very well could be. But I'm just saying, we got to keep in mind that these blowouts are the absolute thorn in our side when we're trying to take overs on any of these player props. Good morning to Craig. Good morning to Wesley. Eric, what's happening to you? Byron's in the building. Good to see you back, Byron. Azan, good to see you here this morning. Cameron, back in the building. Good to see you, Cameron. What up to you? And Anton up in here. Good to see you, Antoine. Let's go ahead and move on to the next player prop. We've talked Jimmy Butler, high hit rate on 22.5 points. We got Russell Westbrook up here at 18.5 points at a 61.1% hit rate. 18.5, no LeBron James tonight, so that's definitely working in favor of Russell Westbrook. If we look at the different game logs here, you see him at 25 points versus Chicago, 26 against Detroit, 19 versus Milwaukee. So he's covered in 3 out of his last 5 games. That's a 60% hit rate. Let's talk about Russell Westbrook because I have a feeling that both he and Anthony Davis will probably be popular plays as this is a big-time game in New York without LeBron James around. So I could see a lot of people navigating or migrating toward Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis in this case. So let's look at Russ real quick. In his last 10 games, a 60% hit rate. So not only does he have a 60% hit rate in his last 5, but in his last 10, he's also rocking a 60% hit rate. You see his averages, 19.3 points per game over the course of the season, 19.3 in his last 10, and 19.2 in his last 5. So 19 points per game kind of seems to be the number here for Russell Westbrook. He is also currently a minus 122 to go over 18.5 points. So the averages are looking good here for Russ. Again, no LBJ. Looking at this New York Knicks matchup here, 16th in points allowed, 5th in field goal percentages allowed, 30th in three-pointers allowed, 24th in three-point field goal percentage allowed, 9th in free throws allowed, and 20th in point guard defense. So Kemba Walker is going to probably draw the assignment here against Russell Westbrook. If we look at the totals from this game, 214.5 points with just a 4.5 point spread for the Knicks. This could be a game where we target some overs. It looks like it's going to stay close and competitive, has a pretty good implied total at 214.5. So I don't mind you taking overs from this game. 33.5 minutes per game for Russ. His field goal attempts in his last 5, right around 16 shot attempts per game. I do expect that number to be closer to 19 or 20 tonight without LeBron around. So definitely like some overs here on Russell Westbrook. Now he does get to the he does attempt some 3-pointers, I should say, about 5 per game. Not a high percentage though. We know that about Russ. Not a great outside shooter. And then his free throw attempts can be good at times. Attempts of 10 and 8 being his high, his low sitting around 2, but he does get to the free throw line. So if you see his free throw prop up on PrizePicks, maybe consider going over on that. Let's get you a projection here for Russell Westbrook. See what he can do tonight against the Knicks. I got him projected for 17.8 points, which even if we round up and we feel generous and give him 18 points, still puts him a little bit short. So far, the overs on Jimmy Butler and Russell Westbrook, according to the number fire projections here, just a little short versus their line today. But you can also check other sites. RotoWire is another one that offers some free projections for single stat player props and fantasy points. You could also check out bettingpros.com. They have a free NBA player prop cheat sheet where they kind of aggregate different player prop projections, giving you a number to kind of compare versus PrizePicks or wherever you play your player props. So they got projections on bettingpros.com. So you can check out a couple of different sources if you're not, just trusting one source with number fire. So there you go. There's a couple of over options for you with Jimmy Butler, Russell Westbrook. Other guys sitting up here around 60% hit rate. Taylon, Horton Tucker, 60%, CJ McCollum at 58.8%, Reggie Jackson sitting around 58.8%. So maybe those are some other options you look into a little bit further. Going down here, looking at low hit rate point props. We've got Julius Randle at 21.5 points, just a 35% hit rate or cover rate. Now PrizePicks went ahead and marked him down to 20.5. So he's 1 point less on PrizePicks versus all of your favorite sports books out there. So you could kind of get a little bit of value, a little bit of a discount here on Julius Randle. But if you look at his last 5 games, he's only went over 20.5 once. And that was against the Chicago Bulls. He drops 34 points against them. He fell well short of 20 points in the 4 previous games. So be careful with Julius Randle. If anything, maybe you lean toward the under. He's going to have a tough matchup here against the Lakers. Let's go ahead and get you a projection on this prop and see what Randle's been up to. They got him projected for 19.9, so right around 20 points. So yeah, that would put him slightly under the 20.5. But again, check multiple resources, like I said, RotoWire, Betting Pros, to get a better idea on this particular player prop. Let's go back to the trends page and see what else we've got here. Damian Lillard at 24.5 points, sitting at 37.5% in terms of his hit rate. He is also a betting favorite to go under at minus 120. Let's see if we've got Damian Lillard up there. We do. He is at 23.5. So once again, PrizePicks has taken his line from your various sports books, brought it down by 1 point, 23.5. So they're giving us a little bit of a softer line here at 23.5, almost daring us to take the over on Damian Lillard. Let's talk about Dame Dollar real quick, because we know early on in the season, he had his struggles in terms of scoring the rock. But maybe things have turned around for him. Let's take a look. At 24.5 points, if you're playing on a site where you get him at 24.5, he's gone 5 out of 10, just a 50% hit rate. So not a very good cover rate here for Damian Lillard at 24.5. But if you're playing on PrizePicks and you get him at 23.5, we move that down. His hit rate does rise a little bit to 60%. 21.6 points per game over the course of the season. That scoring average has gotten much better here. If we look at his last 10, 23.5, and then in his last 5, 26.6. But a lot of that 26.6 is being boosted here against this Philadelphia 76ers squad when Damian Lillard dropped 39 points. So this number's kind of inflated a little bit, kind of bloated, all because of this one big 39-point performance. Now, do we have any previous matchups against the Nuggets from this season? We don't, but last season he went 6 for 9, 67% hit rate in terms of covering this point prop. So let's go ahead and go down here and take a look at some of the defensive metrics. Denver Nuggets may be out Nikola Jokic. They've already ruled Michael Porter Jr. out, and Jamal Murray's obviously not going to be in the lineup. So this Nuggets squad could be a little weaker than the numbers suggest here. They rank first in points allowed, 14th in field goal percentage allowed, 5th in three-pointers allowed, 6th in three-point field goal percentage allowed, 4th in free throws allowed, and just 25th. So that's the one highlight here for Damian Lillard in point guard defense. So I could see why PrizePicks went ahead and took him down from 24.5 down to 23.5. The matchup looks to be a pretty tough one on paper. Plus, he hasn't had a very high success rate of going over 24.5, so they went ahead and dropped him down. Now, looking at the totals of this game, 213.5 implied points. Not a super sky-high total by any means, but the spread here, 6 points favoring the home team, the Portland Trail Blazers. So it's kind of like right on the edge of being like one that we might need to be careful of in terms of blowout, but I think Denver sticks around. They make this a competitive game with or without Jokic. Portland just, they've kind of underperformed this season, in my opinion. So I think this game does kind of stay close, at least till the end. Damian Lillard, 38 minutes per game in his last 5 games, getting plenty of run. And he shoots the ball about 20 times per game, so plenty of volume on his shots. And then he gets about 8 3-point attempts per game. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect with Damian Lillard. Let's pull up a point projection for you for Dame Dollar. Let's see if it's Dame time tonight or not. They got him projected at 23.9 points. So if you're playing him at 23.5, might want to consider going over. But if you're playing him at 24.5, then I would have to lean toward the under. So there you go. Damian Lillard, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other low hit rate guys. We got Kyle Lowry at 13.5, just a 40% hit rate. Eric Bledsoe at 9.5 points, just a 41% hit rate. And we'll round things off here with Robert Covington, 6.5 points, just a 41% hit rate. So that's kind of your high hit rate guys and your low hit rate guys for tonight's slate. Good morning. If you're just joining the stream, I see we're up to 73 viewers. What's happening to you guys? We're just going over some NBA player props. We just wrapped up talking about some of the high hit rate, low hit rate points props. We're going to move on to the next category here, which will be rebounds, according to PrizePicks, which is our reference site of choice for these player props. I think it's the only site out there where you can miss a pick and still make money. I don't know. I might be wrong on that, but I've never seen any other site out there, to my knowledge, where you could play player props, get one of your props wrong, and flex your entry and still make money. So that's kind of cool. That's why I like playing on PrizePicks. They give you a little bit of room for error. So let's go ahead and look at some of these rebounds here. We got Paul George at 7.5 boards, about a 65% hit rate, but he is currently a minus 132 to go under at 7.5 boards, which is why PrizePicks has him up at 7 boards. They see the action coming in on the under, so they went ahead, took him from 7.5 down to 7, shaved off or rounded off that hook, rounded it down to an even 7 rebounds. So there's a chance here that he could push or tie when it's at 7, and you no longer have the hook attached, that 7.5. So Paul George, though, looking like one that the people are putting their money on the under, although the hit rate's pretty good here at 7.5. Eric Bledsoe at 3.5 rebounds, representing about a 65% hit rate, a minus 128 to go over. So he's got a pretty high hit rate. The money's also coming in on the over on Eric Bledsoe, but we're not seeing him up on the PrizePicks board at the moment. How about Sadiq Bey at 5.5 rebounds? They're not giving us him on the PrizePicks board just yet. But at 5.5 boards, 62.5% of the time he goes over, which is also lining up or correlating with the money coming in. He's a minus 130 to go over that number. It doesn't look like we have a whole lot of high hit rate rebound props up on the PrizePicks board at the moment. So they're being strategic so far, being strategic with their player props. Now, maybe one guy we could look at is Yusuf Nurkic against the Denver Nuggets if Nikola Jokic is out. So if we don't get Jokic tonight, I think the matchup gets a whole lot easier here for Nurkic, who has been cleaning the glass here in his last 3 games, 14, 12, and 11. So his last 3 games, he's gone well over 9.5 rebounds. Let's take a look at Nurkic real quick. He's one of the few options we have up on the PrizePicks board that looks like a decent hit rate. So let's look at his last 10 games. In his last 10, 50% hit rate. So not looking too great here in his last 10. Over the course of the season, 11 rebounds per game, 10.6 in his last 10. So that number comes down a little bit. And in his last 5, just 10.4 rebounds. But 10.4, still more than 9.5. So if you are looking to take the over, I can see why. Now, mainly what I want to look at is his last 3 games, 14, 12, and 11. He's been doing a great job. He did struggle against Denver in their previous matchup, pulling in just 6 rebounds, but that was against a tough opponent in Nikola Jokic. So without Jokic around, maybe things get a little softer for him. If we look at if we look at the Denver Nuggets and their defensive metrics here in terms of rebounds, they rank 7th, a top 10 team in terms of being stingy, allowing the other team few rebounds is what I'm talking about here. 6th in offensive rebounds allowed, 9th in defensive rebounds allowed, and they rank 3rd in center defense. Now, a lot of that is anchored by Nikola Jokic. So this is really just going to be a play for me in terms of taking the over at 9.5 if Jokic is out. If he's in, I'm probably going to stay away from this one and fade this particular prop. But let's get you a projection here on Yusuf Nurkic and see where they've got him projected tonight. They got him at 9.8 boards on Number Fire, which puts him really, really close to 10. And that's all we need out of him, 10 boards. And he has been getting it done in his last 3 games, despite his struggles in the previous matchup here against the Denver Nuggets. So there you go. Yusuf Nurkic could be an option if Nikola Jokic is out. So not seeing a lot of high hit rate rebound guys here. Let's go to the low hit rate. We got Nerlens Noel at 7.5 boards, just a 16.7% hit rate. His line today is probably at 7.5 because we've already talked about Mitchell Robinson's not going to be in the lineup tonight against the New York Knicks. So no Mitchell Robinson, which is why Nerlens Noel is up there at 7.5 boards. But as you can see, he's not on the PrizePicks board at the moment. Damian Lillard at 4.5 rebounds, not seeing him up on the board either, and for good reason. He's only covered 4.5 rebounds in 31% of his games. He is a minus 154 to go under 4.5 boards. Jimmy Butler is back at 5.5 rebounds. We're getting him at 6 boards up on PrizePicks, but at 5.5 boards, guys, he's only gone over 35% of the time, but he is a big favorite at minus 142 to go over. So you're in a little bit of a pickle here. His hit rates are low, but the money is coming in on the over at 5.5, which is why PrizePicks went ahead and rounded him up to 6. Looking at his last 5 game logs, though, 5, 0, 10, 3, and 5. He's actually went under 6 rebounds in 4 out of his last 5, meaning he's got a hit rate of just 20%, right? 20% hit rate in his last 5 games. Let's dig into this one a little bit closer. Maybe we can look at it under a microscope here on this short NBA slate. Miami versus the Detroit Pistons. Jimmy Butler, 5.5. At 5.5, he is covered in just 3 out of 10 games this season, just a 30% hit rate. So that's looking pretty good in terms of wanting to take an under, but it gets even better when we move it up from 5.5 to 6. His hit rate goes down to just 22%. So this guy could be a candidate here at 6 rebounds for an underplay. And maybe worst case scenario, he ends up pulling in 6 boards and you end up tying. That's not the worst thing in the world. It's not as bad as losing a bet, right? You know, we would rather push or tie than we would rather lose a bet. But you can see, though, at 6 rebounds, which is where he's at on PrizePicks, just like I said, a 22% hit rate. Looking at his averages, 5.6 rebounds per game, 5.1 in his last 10, and just 4.6 in his last 5. Now, Part of that 4.6 is really being bolstered or boosted here by this 10 rebound game against the New Orleans Pelicans. That is absolutely an outlier, as is this 10 rebound performance against the Charlotte Hornets. You could see that most of the time he trends right around 4 to 5 rebounds, which would put him under 6 tonight. So let's move down. Look at this matchup against Detroit. We talked about no Isaiah Stewart, obviously with the incident with LeBron James where they almost through hands. Isaiah Stewart has been suspended for Detroit. So no Isaiah Stewart. I think things soften up a little bit for the Miami Heat in terms of matchup here without Beef Stew around. 13th in rebounds allowed, 2nd in offensive rebounds allowed, 23rd in defensive rebounds allowed, and 21st in shooting guard defense. So this could be looked at as, somewhat of a plus matchup in terms of boards here for Jimmy Butler. Here's what I'll say, though. It is a 10-point spread, so maybe because of a blowout situation, Jimmy Butler doesn't get enough minutes to get enough rebounds to go over 6 rebounds. Maybe that's the way that you approach this. You got to think like game theory, game script, right? 32 minutes per game in his last 5 games for Jimmy Butler. We kind of talked about that. So let's get you a projection and see where they fall here for Jimmy Butler in these rebounds. They got him at 6.7 boards. So they're being very generous on these rebounds for Jimmy Butler, which is probably why a lot of the public is taking the over at 5.5 rebounds. But I think it's a lot closer at 6 rebounds. I'd probably lean toward the under. And then maybe worst case scenario, it ends up as a push or a tie on PrizePicks. So there you go. That is a low hit rate rebound prop for you. Other ones to maybe consider: Robert Covington at 4.5 rebounds, just a 41% hit rate. RJ Barrett at 6.5 boards, just a 41% hit rate. We're already seeing him down at 5.5 on PrizePicks. So things get a little tricky here at 5.5 versus 6.5. If you get him at 6.5 on your favorite sportsbook, I would say definitely think about taking the under on RJ Barrett. And then we got Zubac here at 8.5 boards, just a 41% hit rate. And he is up on the PrizePicks board. So there's a couple of others to consider. Let's go ahead and talk about the next category there. We're going to talk about some assists. Who are the top dime droppers? Who are the ones that aren't getting the job done in terms of assists? So good morning to all 85 of you. I appreciate you guys coming in and checking things out this morning. Hopefully we're landing on some good plays. If you like what you see, drop a like on this video. It helps me get to that goal of 100 or more likes, which is what we try to do every single day when we do these live streams. So swig of water for the working man, and then we'll move on to the assist categories here on props.cash. Alrighty. Looking at the high hit rates, we got Paul George at 4.5. We're not getting him up on the PrizePicks board, but a 65% hit rate. Currently a -140 to go over, so PG-13. If you want to take the over on his assists, looks like a good way to go this morning. Reggie Jackson at 3.5 assists, also rocking a 65% hit rate. Also a betting favorite to go over at -132. And lucky for us, we actually do get him up on the PrizePicks board. So if we look at the last 5 games, a snapshot of the last 5 contests for him, he's gone over in 3 out of 5, which means a 60% hit rate. Let's dig into this prop, though, a little bit deeper. The Dallas Mavericks visiting the Los Angeles Clippers. We'll go to the assist category here on props.cash. And pull up our boy, Reggie Jackson. So over the course of the last 10 games, he's got a 70% hit rate, meaning he's gone over 3.5 assists in 7 out of 10 games. That's a pretty high hit rate at 3.5 dimes. So far, this one's looking pretty good. I could see why the money's coming in on the over at -134. Averages of 4 assists per game over the course of the season, 3.9 in his last 10, but his averages drop a little bit in the last 5 down to 3.4, which puts him slightly under 3.5, which is why this little square here shows up red versus green. Red bad, green good, right? And then in his previous matchup against the Dallas Mavericks, which was just 1 game ago, back on 11/21, he drops exactly 4 assists, which puts him over 3.5. So you can see that he has gotten it done more often than not in terms of going over at 3.5. So let's take a look at this matchup here. The Mavs, they rank 20th in terms of assists allowed per game, giving up over 24 dimes per game. And they rank 5th in point guard defense. Not so important when we're talking about the assist props, though. Got a total of about 210 points on the board right here. with the Clippers as 5.5-point favorites at home. So not looking like a super sky high total, but the game does look like it's going to stay close and competitive. Hopefully Reggie Jackson gets his full run of minutes. The last time he played Dallas, he got 35 minutes, which is actually an uptick in minutes versus where he's been in his last 5 games and his last 10 games, and his season averages about 2 or 3 minutes more versus those other averages. So you kind of get an idea here of which way we should go on Reggie Jackson. Let's pull up a projection for Reggie and see where Number Fire's got him projected today. It got him at 4.6 assists, so they do like him to go over 3.5. And honestly, that's probably going to be my lean on this prop as well. Let's go over on 3.5. Let's see if he could keep that high hit rate going. He just got it done against Dallas in the last game. The matchup looks pretty good. The projections seem to agree, so I think Reggie Jackson over 3.5 assists could be a good look here. All right, back to the trends board on props.cash we go. Saddiq Bey at 2.5 assists, not seeing him up on the PrizePicks board. One guy that I do want to talk about, he may not be in the high hit rate numbers here, is Cade Cunningham. He's sitting at 5.5 assists right now, just a 36% hit rate, and he's a minus 115 to go under. But I think we need to talk about Cade Cunningham because in his last 4 games, he has gone over 5 assists. So 4 straight of over 5 dimes, 8, 6, 6, and 10. So he's really starting to kind of come into his own as the top distributor on the Detroit Pistons. This might be a sneaky pick here. I don't know, maybe not. PrizePicks has ruined him, has rounded him down from 5.5 down to 5 already. So we are getting a bit of value if you play on PrizePicks. You could see him at 5 assists here. I think the over's the way to go. In the last 4 games, the numbers have looked pretty darn good for Cade Cunningham. So I want to talk about this one because this is one that came up in our private Discord community. If you're not a member of Discord, there's a free public Discord down in the description below. But if you're a member of Patreon, which is a way that you can help kind of support me as a content creator, I try to give back by posting at least 1 or 2 different things a day, just cheat sheets, time savers, stuff like that to help you with your player prop research. Anyways, somebody brought this prop up going over on Cade Cunningham's assists. So whoever that was, I don't remember, but this one's for you. So we're going to dig into this one a little bit further here. Cade Cunningham at 5.5 assists on your favorite sportsbook. Starting off at the beginning of the month here of November, things were blood red. I mean, he went under 5.5 assists in 6 straight games, but he seems to have turned the corner here. That's what I was saying earlier. He's kind of rounded into form here as a distributor for the Pistons. Starting at 11-15, 8 assists, 6 assists, 6 assists, and finally 10 assists against the Lakers in that matchup. So you can kind of see numbers are starting to go up here for Cade Cunningham. Almost have that hockey stick-like upward trajectory here on these bar graphs, right? So over the course of the season, 4.6 assists, 4.9 in his last 10, but in the last 5 is where things really start to pick up for Cade. 6.8 dimes, almost 7 dimes in his last 5 games. So let's go ahead and move things down here. We'll take a look at this matchup. It's not an easy one. I'm not going to sell you a bag of goods that are all sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. It's a tough matchup. So Miami's defense, 9th overall in assists allowed, giving up 22 assists per game, and then 10th in point guard defense, probably not so important there. But even if this game does blow out, I expect a young player like Cade Cunningham to get plenty of run here. Not really worried about him being a victim of a blowout. 35 minutes per game, you can see his minutes are up where they were at around 31.5 for the season, 33 for his last 10. They're now over 35 in his last 5 games. So again, you're starting to see an upward trajectory here for Cade Cunningham. More minutes is equaling more assists, more rebounds, more points. Everything's kind of going up and trending upward here for Cade Cunningham. So you kind of like seeing that if you're looking to take the over on his assists tonight. So let's go ahead and get you a projection on these assists for Cade Cunningham. Number Fire's got him at 5.2. So if you're on PrizePicks and you get him at 5 assists, you definitely want to click the over on this prop. Maybe you end up in a push or a tie type of scenario, but it's hard for me to pass up a guy who's starting to get more minutes, seeing more assists and everything. So I think the trends are looking good here for Cade Cunningham. And yes, Pavel, I think that Cade Cunningham over 32 fantasy points could also be a good way to go. If I'm not mistaken, I'd have to dig into it deeper. I think his fantasy points have been on the rise as well. He just does a little bit of everything for this Detroit Pistons team. His fantasy points are at 33.9, so almost 34 fantasy points today, despite the tough matchup against the Miami Heat. So over 32 fantasy points, I'd say, yeah, why not? Let's go for it. So hopefully that answers your question, Pavel. I saw that one down at the bottom of the chat. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other assist props. We've talked about a couple of plays that look like maybe good overs. Reggie Jackson being one, Cade Cunningham being maybe a sneaky one. Let's see the guys who might be good underplays. We got Taylon, Horton, Tucker at 3.5 assists, just a 0% hit rate, currently a minus 148 to go under. We're definitely not going to get him on the PrizePicks board. Bam Adebayo at 3.5 assists, just a 28.6% hit rate. He's also a minus 160 to go under, which is why you're not going to find him on the PrizePicks board. So this is for you folks that play on other sites. Maybe you can get access to some of these player props outside of PrizePicks. I wish you'd play on PrizePicks, but maybe it's not available in your state. Maybe you prefer playing elsewhere. That's okay. Eric Bledsoe at 3.5 assists has not covered 3.5 very well. 35% hit rate, minus 140 to go under. And Cade Cunningham's on here for a low hit rate guy, but we already talked about him, and I think this could be a sneaky play based on the trends that we're seeing here for Mr. Cunningham. So we talked about some points, some rebounds, some assists. That leaves just one category, and that is 3-point makes. Let's see what PrizePicks has up at the moment. We've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 25 different ways to go here on these 3-point props. Wait, are these from yesterday? Some of these are from yesterday. What the heck? Jalen Suggs, Monday. I'm definitely refreshed here. This is an error, I think, on PrizePicks' part. These all say Monday, November 22nd. That's weird. Let's refresh. Oh, wait. They just went away. That's crazy. Okay. So maybe there was a little mistake there, a little glitch. I know you guys saw that. It's on video, right? So we only have 5 3-point props up on the PrizePicks board at the moment. I thought I was losing it. I was like, wait a second. The Magic just got blown out by the Milwaukee Bucks last night. That was kind of crazy. Anyway, we've got the likes of Kyle Lowry, Saddiq Bey, RJ Barrett, Damian Lillard, and Tim Hardaway Jr. up on the PrizePicks board. So let's go ahead and take a look at props.cash at these 3-point props. Some of your high hit rate guys, Paul George at 2.5 3-pointers, 65% hit rate. He's a big old minus 154 to go over. Don't see him up on PrizePicks, but if you could get him somewhere else, you might want to look into that one a little further. Paul George could be a good look for you. CJ McCollum, also not up on the board. 2.5 3-point make, sitting at 65%. A minus 180 to go over. So there's probably a good reason why he's not up on the PrizePicks board with a high hit rate and a lot of money coming in on the over for CJ McCollum. Julius Randle at 1.5 3-point mix. Not seeing him up on the board. 65% hit rate though if you can get him. Minus 186 on the over so far. I'm not really seeing anybody up here in terms of these high hit rate 3-point makes that are sticking out to me. Tim Hardaway Jr., not seeing him. Kyle Lowry, not seeing him. Well, he's down here as a low hit rate guy. So let's talk about Kyle Lowry and his low hit rate. At 2.5 3-point makes, he's a 26.7% hit rate. That's terrible. Minus 162 to go under. So you can see why PrizePicks has taken him down from 2.5 down to 2. Because in his last 5 games, he's only covered this prop hitting 2 or more 3-pointers in 2 games. So that's just a 40% hit rate. Let's go ahead and dig into this one a little bit further here on props.cash. Miami versus Detroit. Kyle Lowry sitting at 2.5 3-point makes on your favorite sports book. Over the course of the season, just a 30% hit rate at 2.5 3-point makes. He's getting about 1.9 threes per game over the course of the season. 2.2 in his last 10 and 1.8 in his last 5. So all of his averages are below 2.5 3-point makes. Let's move this from 2.5 down to 2 and see if anything changes. It jumps up a little bit. You got more pushes in here. Back on 11-4 versus Boston, 11-10 versus the Lakers, and 11-13 versus the Jazz. He actually pushed with exactly 2 3-point makes. But 43%, still a pretty bad hit rate, even at 2 3-pointers like he is on PrizePicks. I would still lean probably toward the under on this one. The Detroit defense, though, it's all green lights go here. They do allow the most in terms of 3-point field goal percentage, the highest percentage, over 41% of the 3 balls that go up against them go through the bottom of the net. 21st in 3-pointers allowed. This is the total threes that they allow to opposing teams, almost 13 given up per game. And then 30th in point guard defense. So you couldn't ask for really a much better matchup here for Kyle Lowry in terms of his 3-pointers. So this could be a tricky one to fade from what I'm seeing here. He gets about 35 minutes per game. In terms of his 3-point attempts, 6.2 3-point attempts per game. Doesn't convert at a very high clip, though. 14%, 20%, 33%, 33%, and 40% in his last 5 games. So even though he shoots them, that doesn't mean he's necessarily making a whole lot of them. Numberfire does not offer projections for 3-point makes, but Betting Pros does. So check out Betting Pros if you're looking for a projection on Kyle Lowry's threes. But for me, it's a plus matchup, so that would mean good news for Kyle Lowry if you're wanting to take the over. The hit rate is miserable, though. It's terrible. The money's coming in on the under, so I don't know, man. This is a fade for me. When the information doesn't exactly line up and it doesn't vibe very well together, I'm just off of the play. But, you know, if you got the cojones here to take the over, the under on Kyle Lowry, mad props to you. I'm just not going to touch it based on what I'm seeing here. But otherwise, yeah, not really seeing a lot of other 3-point player props, at least what's available right now on PrizePicks, which is very little that I'm digging. So let's go over to the chat, see what you guys are talking about here. Appreciate all of you who are watching. 73 of you. I know it's a short NBA slate, not as many props, not as many places for us to look or to go. But let's go ahead and head back to the top of the chat here and see if there's any picks or plays that I missed. Red Sox says that he had Tom Brady, who missed the over on his fantasy points by like 0.025 fantasy points, but he did have a 5-pick hit, 4 out of 5, so that's a double up. Good job to you. Good morning to you, Jared. Good morning, Honey Badger. Good morning, Ronald. Once again, good morning to Nick. Yeah, honey, let's get this bread. I agree with you. Let's get this bread. ZD, what's good with you, ZD? EDOT says right back like we left something. 100. Yeah, I agree, man. We gotta get some money back. Smooth says, good morning. Holler from Wichita, Kansas. My 2 5-picks hit 4 for 5 last night. So close to the 2 10x payouts. Please shout out to my girl, Sydney, for hitting a 5-player flex and won $110. Shout out to you, Sydney. That's a nice hit. $110, man. I'd take that for sure. What else are we talking about here? Back to the top of the chat we go. Well, we got a super chat from Remy. Good morning to you, Remy. Let's see what Remy's talking about. Julius Randle under 41 fantasy points versus the Los Angeles Lakers. The one game he covered, he scored 34 fantasy points. Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, Remy, not only for the super chat, but thank you for being active in Discord. You're always leaving messages. You're always posting lineups. You're always leaving helpful tips and tricks and stuff like that. So even though you're not a part of the Patreon community, you are a part of the Discord community. And I just want to give you a special shout out, not only, again, for the super chat, which I greatly appreciate, but also for just being an active member in Discord. So let's take a look at this. Julius Randle under 41 fantasy points. Let's see if we should go over or under on this prop. So we don't talk a ton about fantasy points. Obviously, I try to keep it about player props for everybody who does not play on PrizePicks, so they get a little bit of value out of this. But if you look at his last 5 games, Julius Randle has only gone over 41 fantasy points just once, and it was in his last game against the Chicago Bulls. He's absolutely owned the Bulls, by the way. If you look at previous matchups against Chicago since Julius Randle has joined the Knicks, he's gone over his fantasy points quite often against the Chicago Bulls. But kind of get an idea here, it's been a struggle bus for Julius Randle in 4 out of his last 5 games. There is a little bit of a narrative here, though. You got to kind of go back a little bit, a little ways here. Julius Randle was once a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. So does he play with an extra big chip on his shoulder tonight? Does he play with a little bit more spunk, we'll say? Could be. He could be extra motivated here to go against his former team. He'll likely be matched up against Anthony Davis. I would imagine that with Mitchell Robinson out, that we'll probably see Nerlens Noel start. Maybe Nerlens Noel takes on DeAndre Jordan. I think DeAndre Jordan's the starting center for the Lakers, right? So maybe Julius Randle ends up matched up against Anthony Davis, who once upon a time he was traded for. He was traded for AD. So this could be a personal narrative here for Julius Randle. He was a member of the Lakers. AD was a member of the Pelicans. They did that little swap, remember? Okay, I'm just refreshing your memory, making sure you're taking notes and paying attention out there. But yes, the projections like Julius Randle to go under 41 fantasy points at 39.2. But I'm just saying, if you don't think Julius Randle is going to come out and be extra motivated here, I think you should think about it a little bit more. I don't know if we could pull up game logs here for Julius Randle. I'm not real super familiar with the Fantasy Labs number fire here. It doesn't look like it. These all look like we got some game logs here, but I'm trying to see if he had any previous games against the Los Angeles Lakers as a member of the New York Knicks. I think one site that we can use though is not number fire, sorry, StatMuse. StatMuse could be helpful. I do refer to StatMuse every once in a while. So if we type in Julius Randle versus Lakers FanDuel game logs, I want to say this should bring us up some results. There you go. There you go. So you can kind of get an idea here in terms of FanDuel points, which again are exactly the same amount of points or same scoring system that they use on PrizePicks. Get an idea here. So his last matchup against the Lakers, he drops 45 fantasy points, 54 fantasy points against the Lakers on April 12th of 2021. Then he's got a couple of dud games in here, 33.6 and 33. So these are just the 4 games as a member of the New York Knicks versus the Los Angeles Lakers. So he's got 2 games where he's gone over, 2 games where he's gone under. But the 2 games that he's went over were the last 2 games. Both happened earlier this year, which was technically last season. But just trying to give you a little bit more of a deeper dive here on that super chat, so you can kind of get it more of an idea. He put up 45.1 FanDuel points against the Lakers back on May 11th. So make of this what you will. I would definitely say check out some other sites on Julius Randle. The 41 fantasy points may not be as crazy as it seems. I don't know if I want to go under on this particular prop because he has had some success against the Lakers in his last 2 games. So I don't know. I'm just, pointing it out there. You might want to do a little bit more digging on some of these other sites. But I appreciate that, Remy. Thanks again for the super chat, and hopefully that answers your question. Let's browse through the rest of these questions here and see what else we've got. Maybe there's some other good plays that are looking juicy here. Yeah, James Harden's free throws did not come through for us last night. Unfortunately, it looked like it was a Kevin Durant type of night, especially from the free throw line. Kevin Durant, I think, ended up going 10 for 10. I was sitting there hoping and praying that they would intentionally foul James Harden at the end of that game and he would hit 2 free throws to put us over. But it looked like Kevin Durant ended up getting those intentional fouls and those last-minute free throws. So did not work out in terms of the James Harden free throws last night. King says, Tate's rebounds. Rockets got blown out. So that was a tough one. Yeah, if you played any Houston Rockets are going to continue to get blown out, guys. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Let's see what else we got here. What other plays you're liking. Locked in the under for RJ Barrett's threes. And over for Kristaps Porzingis fantasy points because of Luka, and locked in Taylon Horton Tucker over for fantasy points. So he's got THT over for fantasy points. He's got the over on Kristaps Porzingis fantasy points, which I really like if Luka has already been ruled out. And then RJ Barrett threes. He likes the over on RJ Barrett. You guys, I think most of you know how I feel about RJ Barrett. Don't love the guy. I don't love him. Oh, wow. Did they add a bunch? No, this is all from Monday again. This is super weird. I thought, again, that they added a whole bunch more 3-point props. Let me refresh. We got a Taco Tuesday going on right now. Taco Tuesday going on right now for some footy, some proper football. So if you're into soccer, go take advantage of this Taco Tuesday. That is pretty interesting. I did not expect to see that, but yeah, you can go snatch a little value on that goal. I'm looking for 3-point makes, but yeah, they still haven't updated them. So, yeah, waiting for more of those props to hit the PrizePicks board. Unfortunately, not getting a whole lot of them. What else have we got? What else are we talking about here this morning, chat? Dave says Miles Bridges rebounds was the dud last night. Killed a few lineups. Yeah, LaMelo Ball's really been on the ball in terms of hitting those rebound props. So you might want to consider some LaMelo Ball rebounds. It worked out for me. I paired him with Bradley Beal in a 2-pick power play, kind of a same game parlay type of thing, and it ended up working out. So yes, Josh says Taco Tuesday discounts. Need some wins today. Keep an eye out. Apparently, PrizePicks is running back the Taco Tuesdays. So I had no idea they were going to do that again, but it looks like they are doing it. So definitely check it out. Honey Badger says, we appreciate you. I appreciate you too. What do you, Jay says, what do you think about Melo over 22.5 fantasy points? Back in the Garden, no Bron, revenge narrative. Whew. Yes. Why not? Why don't we take a shot on Carmelo Anthony at 22.5 for all the reasons listed by my man Jay Stino? He dropped 27.4 fantasy points against Detroit. Obviously, LeBron got ejected from that game, so Carmelo stepped into more minutes against the Pistons and ended up going over 22.5. So maybe tonight we go back to Carmelo Anthony here with no LeBron James. I'm sure Melo will be pumped to be back in MSG. They've got him projected for 29 fantasy points. That puts him over 22.5 by like 6.5 fantasy points. So yeah, Jay, I'm with you on that one. I don't mind that. I don't mind a little narrative. Carmelo back in the Garden. What else are we talking about here? Official M23 Dog says Beal assist and Book threes yesterday were great, but I wish the Bucks didn't blow out the Magic though. As a Magic fan, I also wish the Bucks did not blow out the Magic. That was embarrassing. We were out of the game by halftime. It was like a 40-point lead for Milwaukee against the Magic by halftime. So that was terrible. Eric says that Valanciunas crushed me. Yeah, I think Valanciunas got into some early foul trouble. I actually liked him a lot yesterday. I didn't end up taking him, but I did take Karl Anthony Towns. And Towns ended up finishing exactly on his fantasy points prop for PrizePicks. So it ended up being a push. So I hit one... it was a 3x payout for a 2-pick power, so it went down to a 1.5x payout. I had him with Josh Hart over fantasy points. So as long as Devontae Graham is out for New Orleans, think about taking Josh Hart. If he's right around like 25 fantasy points, that one's been low-key hitting a lot too. Josh Hart over fantasy points. If he's right around like 24, 25 again, go back to that if Devontae Graham is out. Byron says Beal over on assists, Booker over on 3-point plays were great. He did a power play on that. Good for you. Good for you. Craig says he made 400 last night. He's trying to get it back, trying to get back at it today. All right, let's try and do that, Craig. Jeff says Tyler Herro over 30 fantasy points. Okay, he's at 30. He's gone over in 4 out of his last 5 games, so an 80% hit rate for Tyler Herro. Let's go ahead and pull up a fantasy points projection for him for you using NumberFire. Wow, they've got him down at 25.7 fantasy points. So that is a far cry from 30. That is just too low for me to trust Tyler Herro at the moment. Maybe those projections change throughout the day, but I don't know. I don't know about it. Asin says, trying to go 4 for 4 on a 3-point prop. Whip us up a winner. Well, if you're talking about going 4 for 4 on a 3-point prop on PrizePicks, it's going to be tough. We've only got 5 options right now. We're going to have to wait for more of those to come in. Damian Lillard at 3. I mean, maybe this is a leading candidate for an overplay. You got him at 4, 3, 3, and 5 makes in his last 5 games. He's gone 80% hit rate. I think that's worth a shot going over versus Denver. Yeah, that could be like the top play right now. I just don't know. There's not a whole lot of options on a short slate, and there's less options on PrizePicks right now. What else are we talking about here? Craig says, very ambitious. 3-point props are so volatile, but hey, man, good luck. And do you. Exactly. They are very tough, Craig. You're right about that. Jay says Kuzma crushed his rebound prop in the first quarter yesterday. Yes, we did talk about Kyle Kuzma being a strong over candidate on those rebounds, and he ended up getting it done pretty quickly. So Beal's assist and Kyle Kuzma's rebounds from that game ended up being some nice plays. Eric says, Russ under assists without LeBron. Maybe he becomes more shot first again. Randle over points without LeBron on defense. Here's what I would suggest. With LeBron James out for the Los Angeles Lakers, please go to Google. Go to Roto Grinders Court IQ. Google Roto Grinders Court IQ. Court IQ is nice because it's a free tool, and free is good, right? But it allows you to put players on and put players off and see what the production looks like. So we can take LeBron off the court and see how guys like Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, and others benefit with LeBron out of the lineup or off the court for the Lakers. Who really eats when LeBron's not around? So recommend you Google Roto Grinders Court IQ. Check it out, tinker around with it, and maybe you get some good results. We just got another 3-point prop on the board. It's Carmelo at 2 threes. Ooh, sign me up for that. We were just talking about taking the over on Carmelo Anthony's fantasy points. Now Melo's up on the 3-point prop board. He's hit 2, 3, and 5 in his last 3 games. No LeBron tonight in Madison Square Garden. So if you don't want to take his fantasy points, maybe you go to his 3-point prop. He's hit 2 or more in 80% of his last 5 games. So that's a pretty high hit rate for Melo. I like that one. What else are we talking about? Cameron says, check out Cade Cunningham, rebounds plus assists over. Yeah, well, I could tell you this. Cade Cunningham, I play fantasy point props here on PrizePicks. He's been doing well in terms of going over his fantasy point props. So that would be a good play, in my opinion, rebounds and assists for Cade Cunningham. Honey says, Jimmy got hurt versus the Lakers. Good point there. Anton says, Bucks blowout was nasty. Absolutely nasty. Absolutely nasty. Will says, good morning, bro. Found out the 15x multiplier. You take 2 quarterbacks from the same game, yards or fantasy points. You take 1 under and 1 over with 2 or 3 defensive players from the same game, or take 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers, picking under or over on opposite teams. So I've seen that, Will, what you're describing. I've seen it play out like that, but I've also seen where they've taken quarterbacks and then they've mixed other sports in there too. So I don't think it has to be all football, all NFL or whatever. So I think you can mix other sports in there too if you want. Cash in 321 says he's new here. Let's go. Good morning to you, Cash, and thanks for joining us for the first time. Hopefully you've subscribed. Hopefully you turned on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the future content. And hopefully you all have liked today's live stream as we look to go over 100 likes on a short NBA slate. It's a tall task. I know it's a difficult task, but I think we can do it. There's 78 of you in here. You all smashed the like button. We are well on our way to 100 likes. So thank you so much for the support, and good to see you joining us this morning. Cashin, thanks for being here. Jay Stino says Lakers are the safest to not blow out. We suck. Okay, Lakers fan dropping that nugget in there. Westbrook, you guys are talking about Westbrook bricking. So yeah, if you're kind of gun shy on Russell Westbrook, maybe you take Carmelo Anthony. It seems like there's some love for Melo on his fantasy points, love for Melo on his 3-point makes. Nick Hunt says AD to the moon. Yeah, AD maybe without LeBron around. AD could possibly eat. Somebody said that Westbrook has been bumped up to 19.5. I'm still showing him at 18.5 here on PrizePicks, Jared. I don't know if you're playing on PrizePicks or not. E-Dot says, Bam Adebayo rebounds or points may be good. Okay. Bam, 17.5 points versus Detroit. No Isaiah Stewart for the Pistons. In his last 5 games, he's gone over 17.5, 60% of the time. So pretty decent hit rate. Not terrible. Let's quickly pull up a projection here for Bam, because you mentioned Bam in a couple of statistical categories. You like his points? Well, he's projected for 18.5 points, putting him 1 point over the 17.5. And you like his rebounds? He's projected for 10.3 rebounds. He's at 10.5. So maybe you go toward the points and stay away from the boards on Bam Adebayo. Nick Guthrie says, good morning, CJ. Thank you for all you do. Good morning to you, Nick, and you're welcome. Duran says, yo, Julius Randle over assist and rebounds. Well, we talked about Julius Randle's fantasy points, which would include assists, rebounds. Obviously, points, steals, and blocks are mixed in there too. But Julius Randle, I think, will be playing with a little bit of extra motivation against the Los Angeles Lakers tonight. Just my gut feeling here that Julius Randle will be motivated against Anthony Davis, will be motivated against his former team that traded him away to go get the brow. I'm just saying, I could see Julius Randle trying to be aggressive here and prove a point. Cade Cunningham over rebounds. Well, I like Cade Cunningham, but I think I liked his assists at 5 because he's went over in 4 straight games, 4 out of his last 5. Let's look at Cade's rebounds, though. 6 boards right now. He has gone for 6 or more rebounds in 4 straight games as well. So you can't really go wrong with Cade Cunningham's assists or his rebounds, really. So, he has pushed his rebounds once, but he has not pushed his assists at all. He's gone over cleanly. So I give a slight edge maybe to the assists, but either way, assists or rebounds looking pretty good here for Cade Cunningham. John Torres says, what does John Torres say? I just lost it. Where'd it go? I lost you, John. Where'd it go? I don't know. I just saw John. I just saw his message. I lost it. Sorry, John. I lost it. If I see it, I will definitely shoot it out for you. RJ Barrett has returned to his regular self. 1-3 per game. So you're looking to take the under on RJ Barrett, you're saying? Under on RJ versus the Lakers? Yeah. I don't hate that. That looks like a good way to go. He's got 1 game where he's gone over in his last 5. Smooth said the duds for him were Chris Middleton and Giannis under rebounds. Would have smashed a 4-player power play, but fell short. Yeah, the blowout in that Milwaukee Bucks, and Orlando Magic game was a gut punch to a lot of people. James Harden's free throws were my only lost pick in my 5 pick. Harden's free throws just didn't get there. Devin Booker threes over. Trae Young free throws over. Jason Tatum free throws over. Porzingis free throws over. All hits for him yesterday. Good. I was going to say good SHIT, but good shot. Shot by Tree. J-Red. Porzingis. Cade Cunningham over fantasy points. Yeah, I like both of those. Those are good looks. Zebo. I hate blowouts in any sport, and it doesn't help that I'm losing the 5 pick every week due to a blowout. Maybe you take those 5 picks and you make them into 2 picks. I talked about it a little bit yesterday. Take your 5 pick, pick 2 of your favorite picks out of that and run it as a separate 2-pick power play or 2-pick flex play. Could be a good way to go just to kind of hedge a little bit. Logan says Porzingis over 18.5 points with or without Luka. Well, without Luka for sure. With Luka, I don't know that I love it as much. Could he get there? For sure he could, but he has struggled historically against the Los Angeles Clippers. He did drop 25 against them, though, in the last game. So he's playing better this season against the Clippers, it looks like, versus what he did in the playoffs and against them in the regular season matchups. But yeah, I like that prop a lot without Luka. Not as much, but still kind of like it with Luka. Carter says Jeremy Grant over 17.5 points. Jeremy Grant over 17.5. 36 against the Lakers. Okay, 19, 19, 24. So he's got an 80% hit rate in his last 5 games. I could pull up a Jeremy Grant prop for you here. Jeremy Grant at 19.4 points. They like him to go over once again here against the Miami Heat. So maybe you do go over on Jeremy Grant. I'm going to try and take a few more and then get up out of here, guys. We're already well over an hour. Gosh, time flies when I do these live streams. Kush is liking Tim Hardaway Jr. over 3.5 rebounds. Remy says, thanks for the advice. Much riskier than I thought. Yeah, I think so. That Julius Randle fantasy point prop could be kind of risky. Shot by Tree says Randle could have a good game against the Lakers because it seems like everybody they traded for AD ends up going off against them. I'm just saying, there could be a little narrative here. Dale says Devin Booker's threes hardly fail. Will likes Russell Westbrook's rebounds over 8.5. Craig says, overall, today seems like a fade for me. I think there's a couple of decent plays. Like I said, Carmelo Anthony at 2 3-point makes could be a good look. Maybe you take a shot on Damian Lillard over 3 3-point makes. He's been doing a pretty good job in his last 4 games. Maybe you take the under on RJ Barrett under threes. We talked about some other plays earlier. Reggie Jackson's assist at 3.5 has been a pretty decent hit rate over the last 5. Who else did we like? Jimmy Butler, we talked about his points. We were a little concerned with the blowout for Jimmy Buckets, but 22.5, pretty decent number. Bam Adebayo is another guy you could possibly take the points over on. Cade Cunningham, we liked his rebounds at 6. Okay. We liked his assists at 5. Okay. So there's some plays out there. I wouldn't say today is a complete fade. Porzingis fantasy points. If they put Porzingis up at 1.5 threes, I like that. I don't think they will because he's been smashing it. So what else are we talking about though? R. Lewandowski over 0.5 goals is very high hit rate. Heads up. So yeah, he's talking about the Taco Tuesday, the basically a free square. Well, not free. He still has to make 1 goal, but has a very high hit rate according to Red Sox 75-60 in the chat. So definitely think about maybe getting him in your entries, taking the over on 0.5 goals. If you're into that Taco Tuesday thing. AD over 24.5 points. Anthony Davis over points could be a good look. I liked him the other night when he was down around 18.5, 19.5. But, he's been smashing 24.5. 3 out of his last 5 games, 60% hit rate. So, yeah, you could go back to the brow because you got to think that he's also motivated to go against Julius Randle, the guy that they traded for, right? Let's go find Anthony Davis, get a projection for you. He is at 24.3 points, so it's a little tighter, a little closer than maybe we thought. So be careful with Anthony Davis. What else are we looking at, though? Chill Robots says, hello, party people. Hello to you. Deb Nesh, why LeBron isn't playing? Well, LeBron was involved in a scuffle, a little dust-up with Isaiah Stewart of the Detroit Pistons. I don't know if you saw it or not, but he busted Isaiah Stewart's face open and was bleeding everywhere. So LeBron punched somebody in the face. That's why LeBron is not playing tonight. Jeff B likes Fournier under fantasy points. Zebo says, what's Taylon Horton Tucker's projection on points on that site? You're talking about on this site, on Numberfire? Let's go take a look. Horton Tucker projected for 13.5. 13.5 points. Not seeing him up on the PrizePicks board, but yeah, Horton Tucker at 13.5. Shot by Tree says, hey CJ, you might want to consider doing the picks later so they can fill the board up more. Still love the content regardless, bro. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the case, right? You either do it early and try to get in on some plays before the lines move, or you wait till the end of the night when all the lines have already been adjusted by PrizePicks, and then you're kind of just waiting for news to break so you could quickly pounce on your favorite plays. So Alejandro says, do you show a recap on all your picks? Well, I don't really, I'm not really like giving any picks away, I guess. We're just researching what looks like the best picks, if that makes any sense, Alejandro. We're looking at like hard numbers, facts, stats, data, even some projections. So we talk about all the picks right here live. We do the research together live. So, that's your choice, whether you want to play the picks or not, J-Red says, AD is questionable with flu-like symptoms. Well, that's very important news. Kristaps Porzingis over 1.5 assists could be good. Breaking news, Anthony Davis questionable tonight. Thanks for leaving that, George. Carmelo Anthony over 14 points, over 14.5 points. Maybe, yeah. If we like the narrative of him going back to MSG facing the New York Knicks, no LeBron, maybe no Anthony Davis. You take the over on Carmelo Anthony, and we talked a little bit about Russell Westbrook earlier too. Pick-wise is heavy on PJ Tucker over 10 points. Okay, interesting. Dale says, first time here, how do you guys feel about Zubac points over tonight? Zubac has been low-key pretty consistent lately. He's at 9 points right now on PrizePicks. I know that's a little harder for him to hit. I liked him better when he was sitting at like 7.5 points or 8.5 points. But Zubac has been playing pretty well for the Clippers. He did drop 16 against Dallas in their last game. So Dallas has been a team that I've been targeting in terms of playing big guys, centers, power forwards against Dallas because they just don't do a great job at guarding the opposing big man. So yeah, I like going back to Zubac versus Dallas again tonight. Nick says that they took Westbrook off on the PrizePicks board. Yoquan Hamlin. Yo, what's up to you, Yoquan? Am I saying that right? Jeff B took Taylon Horton Tucker off as well right as he was entering. Okay, so that AD news shook up things here for PrizePicks apparently. Dale likes Julius Randle over on points tonight too. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. You guys are seemingly loving Kristaps Porzingis assists. So yeah, you could take KP 6 assists at 1.5. He's gone over in 4 straight games, some games as high as 7 assists like he did against Phoenix. So maybe you go Kristaps Porzingis. And finally, the last one, Kush likes CJ McCollum at 4 assists. Let's look at those. 5, 5, 6, 2, and 5. So he's gone over in 4 out of his last 5. That's an 80% hit rate. Let's pull a projection up here for McCollum. He's at 4.5 assists tonight, guys. So yeah, I would take the over on CJ McCollum with the high hit rate. He's been scoring less. Damian Lillard's been scoring more. There's almost been like this role reversal now between CJ and Dame. So I would take the over on McCollum's assist, and I think that makes for a solid play. But that's going to be it, guys. Thanks again for all of you who have tuned in this morning. Hopefully we landed on some good picks. If you have not liked the stream yet, do so now. I thank you again from the bottom of my heart for doing that and continuing to support what we're doing here on YouTube every morning. Hopefully we land on some good picks, guys. Good luck tonight. Don't go too crazy. It's a short NBA slate. The numbers are a lot more dialed in. There's less places for us to go. So, you know, just go light. Practice good bankroll management. Don't go too crazy on tonight's slate. I think that's a good piece of advice. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Good luck to you. We'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.